Most economists are wrong. Not sometimes, not occasionally. Systematically, they told us deficits don't matter. They told us central banks can print prosperity. They told us the boom would last forever. And every time the crash came, they acted surprised. Roland Baader had a different view. He said the problem isn't bad luck, it's bad theory. Today we look at the economists who got almost everything wrong and why their ideas still dominate. Here's a question worth sitting with. How many economists predicted the 2008 financial crisis? Not vaguely, not things looked unstable. Specifically predicted the housing bubble, the mortgage-backed securities collapse, the bank failures, and the global credit freeze. The answer is a very small handful. Almost all of them came from the Austrian school. Mises, Hayek, Rothbard, and Roland Baader. The Fed didn't see it. The IMF didn't see it. Ben Bernanke, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, said in 2007 that the housing market was fundamentally sound and the subprime problem was contained. He said that, out loud, on camera, 18 months before Lehman Brothers collapsed. The same year, the economics profession awarded its Nobel Prize to 3 economists for work in mechanism design theory, a field so abstract that most people have never heard of it and never will. Nobody lost their job. Nobody returned their prize. Nobody issued a serious correction. This is what Roland Baader called one of the most expensive intellectual failures in modern history. And it was not an accident. It was the predictable result of a profession that has been captured by the very institutions it is supposed to scrutinize. Baader's critique of mainstream economists is not that they are stupid. Some of them are genuinely brilliant. His critique is structural. In the 20th century, the economics profession made a fateful decision. It wanted to be taken seriously as a hard science. Physics has equations. Chemistry has formulas. If economics wanted the same prestige, the Nobel Prize, the government contracts, the central bank advisory roles, it needed mathematics. So mainstream economics went mathematical. Supply and demand curves, equilibrium models, regression analyses, dynamic stochastic general equilibrium, DSGE, the very models the Federal Reserve still uses today. These models share one critical assumption. Economies tend toward equilibrium. Markets self-correct. Prices clear. Rational actors make predictable decisions. And because the models assume equilibrium, they cannot, by construction, predict crises. A crisis is a system moving violently away from equilibrium. A model built on equilibrium assumptions has no way to generate that outcome. You cannot predict a traffic jam with a model that assumes the roads are always clear. This is why the profession was blindsided in 2008. And it is why it will be blindsided again. Baader goes one step further. He argues the problem is not only intellectual, it is institutional. Mainstream economists receive government contracts, central bank advisory positions, academic tenure, and research funding from the very institutions they are supposed to scrutinize. A mechanic paid by the car company has an incentive to say your car is fine. An economist paid by the Federal Reserve has an incentive to say monetary policy is sound. This is not cynicism. It is incentive analysis. The same tool Austrian economists use to understand markets. People respond to incentives. Even economists. The single biggest influence on mainstream economics for the last 80 years is John Maynard Keynes. Keynes was not a fool. He was one of the most brilliant economic minds of the 20th century, and one of the most dangerous. His central idea, developed during the Great Depression, is simple and intoxicating. When the economy slows down, the government should spend, inject demand, run deficits, stimulate. The multiplier effect will generate more growth than the original spending cost. Politicians love this idea. It tells them that spending money, something they were going to do anyway, is not just acceptable, but scientifically necessary. The spending is the medicine. The deficit is the therapy. The debt is not a problem. It is the cure. Baader's response to Keynesianism is direct. It is the most politically convenient theory ever produced by any economist in history. It tells governments to do exactly what they want to do, spend more, and calls it a prescription. A theory that governments find convenient is not automatically wrong, but it should make you very suspicious. Rothbard described the Austrian school as an outbreak of light in the world of economics, and specifically identified Mises' theory of money and credit as the great achievement of integrating monetary theory with microeconomic analysis. He simultaneously noted that current mainstream economics is further from this achievement than it has ever been. That quote is from 1981. It is more accurate in 2026 than it was then. The gap between what Austrian economists understand about money, credit, and business cycles, and what mainstream economists teach in universities, has not narrowed. It has widened. Here's what's remarkable about the Austrian record, and damning about everyone else. In 1912, Ludwig von Mises published The Theory of Money and Credit. In it, he described the exact mechanism by which central bank credit expansion creates artificial booms that must collapse. In the 1920s, he warned that the Federal Reserve's easy money was building an unsustainable boom. He was ignored. 1929 arrived. In 1944, Hayek published The Road to Serfdom, warning that central planning, however well-intentioned, leads toward authoritarian control. He was ignored. The Soviet Union spent the next 45 years proving him right. In 2005, Roland Baader published Gold and Gottspieler with the subtitle, On the Eve of the Next World Economic Crisis. He identified the same mechanism again: suppressed interest rates, housing credit expansion, widespread malinvestment. He was ignored. 2008 arrived. Baader later wrote, "The theory of money and credit from 1912 remains to this day the best monetary work in economics." That sentence is not nostalgia. It is an indictment. The most important monetary book in history is more than a century old. The mainstream has never surpassed it. In many ways, it has moved further away from it, toward models that look impressive on paper and fail in reality. This is not bad luck. It is the consistent result of a profession that prefers mathematical elegance over economic truth. What does this mean for how you should think about economic commentary, especially today? Baader's standard is simple. When an economist tells you what the government wants to hear, that spending is stimulus, that deficits are harmless, that the Fed can manage inflation without real cost, ask who is paying that economist. When an economist tells you what markets are actually saying, that cheap money produces bad investments, that debt always carries consequences, that you cannot permanently create prosperity by printing money, ask whether anyone is paying that economist to say it. The Austrians were not funded by central banks. They were not employed by governments. They had no institutional incentive to declare the monetary system sound. And they were right, consistently, repeatedly, and in advance, about events that the best funded, most credentialed, and most awarded economists in the world did not see coming. That is not luck. It is methodology. A framework that correctly models how human beings actually make decisions, not how they behave inside neat equilibrium models, will produce better predictions than a framework optimized for mathematical elegance and institutional comfort. Baader did not expect mainstream economics to reform itself. Institutions do not voluntarily dismantle the frameworks that justify their existence. What he expected, and what the Austrian school has always expected, is that reality will eventually impose the correction that the profession refused to make. In 2008, reality delivered that correction. The profession absorbed the shock, published a few new papers, adjusted some model parameters, and then went right back to advising the same governments with the same broken frameworks. The next correction will be larger, and the economists who see it coming will once again be the ones nobody is paying to be right. Baader once observed, with characteristic sharpness, most economists are not paid to find the truth. They are paid to make the existing system look reasonable. That sentence explains more about modern economics than most textbooks. The models will keep failing. The same voices will keep being surprised. And the same small group of economists, the ones without institutional incentives, will keep seeing the danger before it arrives. The only question is how many times reality has to correct them before anyone starts listening. If this kind of analysis is what you're looking for, hit subscribe. More is coming.